Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. Another episode here of Banish the Doubt. Today's episode, I'm going to title it, Whose Life Is It Anyway? And hang with me here for a minute because I'm going to sort of explain all this, what I'm meaning by this, and how I got to this title. So, you see over my shoulder here, I have a quote up top, and I want to start off with that. It says, whenever we want something, what we are doing in that moment is that we are unconsciously seeing ourselves as separate from it. Okay? We are acknowledging that. We're acknowledging separation and lack, that we don't have it. So, as we go through life, and how we were taught, how we were sort of programmed, because you and I, our minds are nothing more than this computer. We're operating off a set of programs, operating system that is inside of our mind. But how did it get there? And that's what I'm going to start to talk about here. And that's how I'm going to tie in this. Whose life is this anyway? Whose life is it that you're really living? Whose life is it I'm really living up until this point? Now, before I go any further, do me a favor, if you like what you heard so far, if you like my videos, hit the like button, because the more we do that, the more people see these types of videos. And I'm really nothing more than just what I'm doing is I'm echoing a lot of what I've been taught. And we find that, the book Reality Transurfing says we build houses out of others' bricks, out of used bricks. What they're saying there is that what we do is nothing more than we're just continuing this, we're transferring information from one generation to the next and onward. Okay, so hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, you're new and you want to go ahead, hit the subscribe button, because the more people like these videos and subscribe to the channels, the bigger the channels get and the more people see them. But I want to continue here. So our mind has two different sections. Our side of our brain, two hemispheres, a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. The left I have here, that little A represents analytical. It is our analytical mind. It is the part of our mind that whenever anything from our highest consciousness living or conscious awareness comes in, it goes through this analytical side. Also, I have here as the ego side. We operate 10% of our brain is operating, is active. Only 10% of our brain, our conscious brain, is active. The other 90% is inactive or hidden. The left side of our brain, the analytical or the ego side, this is the side that talks us out of possibilities. It predicts, it wants to predict everything. It wants to control everything. Do you know anybody like that? It wants to control situations. It wants to figure out what is coming next. How do I plan? How do I figure out? How am I going to, get compete? I'm going to be better than the other company, better than the other guy, better than the other girl. We got to be right. All of this. This is the left side. Figure out the unknown. We have to constantly try to figure out what's coming next. What we can't have anything unknown. We have to know what's going on. So this a lot of energy is spent in that side, that hemisphere of our brain. The universe. 10% of the universe is visible, 90% of it is hidden. 10% of our brain is active, 90% of our brain is inactive or hidden. And I'm going to get to that here in a few minutes as well. So, how did we get here? How did we end up getting to this part, this type of a life that we have? Well, when we were born, you've heard me talk about this in the past, in the third trimester. So when you and I were just a fetus, in that third trimester, information about this world, about what's going on in our world, was downloaded into us, the fetus, through our mom, through the umbilical cord. however she viewed the world, viewed her society she lived in, the house or the apartment, wherever her environment was, house, apartment, whatever it may be, the relationship with your father, what was that like? Okay, that was all downloaded. This is also when our brains turned on in third trimester. So subconsciously, we start to take in all that information. At 0, we're born. Okay, we are this little baby, this infant. We are in what's called delta brainwaves. They are the slowest brainwaves. It's when we are sleeping at night. We're in a deep sleep. We're taking a nap. We are in a deep, deep sleep. We're dreaming. D, also dreaming. Okay. From 0 to 2, we are there. So third trimester, brain turns on. All the information is being downloaded from mom, seeing what the environment is like. Also from the environment, what was going on. What type of stress was there? What type of situation was going on? What was the financial situation? What was the relationship with dad? The rest of the family, all of that. At age 2, we go into age 7, we go into theta. Theta brainwaves start to develop. They are a little faster than delta. But this is the programmed state. So from age 0, from birth to age 7, we are programmed. There is no conscious mind developed yet. It is all subconscious. It is this computer. If I were to open up this computer and type in any type of instruction and nothing comes out, it's because it hasn't been programmed yet. So this is how we're being programmed. Okay? We are observing behaviors. We can't talk at this age. We can barely talk from age 2 to 7. We're just starting to come around, start to understand. We're starting to see things, but we're not conscious of really what's going on. We are also, enculturation begins. It takes place in these first 7 years. Enculturation is the gradual acquisition of the characteristics of a culture or group by a person or people, the characteristics and the norms. So, what nationality are you? We're not really any nationality. You and I were not. But we've been enculturated. This is when we are enculturated. Notre Dame, right? Fighting Irish, drinking, holding your liquor, whatever nationality you may be. Is it, or how many, the other part of this also is what kind of rules did we start to have to understand in these formidable years, 7 years. Darwin said, right, survival of the fittest in the competition of life. How many generations, right? How many generations were living off of this premise? Survival of the fittest, right? There was no such thing as survival of the fittest, right? But this is where we become here. We get this side of the brain. The people who are caregivers raised us with this type, and still today, this type of mentality, this type of thinking. Survival of fittest. I've got to be better than the other guy. We got to compete. We got to hustle. We got to grind. We got to do all this to be better than. This is where all this is downloaded into our brains as children, as little babies. From 2 to 7, we start to hear things such as, oh, stop your crying. I'll give you something to cry about, right? Have you heard that? What do you think? Money grows on trees? Have you heard that? Because from 0 to 2, wasn't any of that. Well, at least the majority of households. But from 2 to 7, we start hearing those things. But we're not conscious yet. It's being downloaded. So what is being downloaded? You're not good enough. Don't ask for money. What do you think? Money's made on trees? I'm out there slugging away. This is all the programmed behaviors or the behaviors we're observing in these formidable years. So from 7 to 12, we are in alpha state. Consciousness is turned on, but it's a soft consciousness. It's not fully developed yet. From 12 on, now we're in beta. But now, when we're in beta, we have all of this stuff that we're carrying with us. So, whose life is it anyway? Is this really your life, or are you carrying emotional reactions and behaviors and belief systems and perceptions from our caregivers, people who raised us. So this is how I want to start to get into this, and this is like kind of the meat of the conversation of the video that I'm making today. So, so again, we talked about here. This is where we get in our life at the in beta when we're older than 12 years old, in our teenage years and 20s and 30s and onward, we hear things such as, "You're just like your mom or your dad." You can't see it when someone tells you that, but everybody else can see it. It's because of the programmed beliefs. 70% of these programmed beliefs were disempowering, self sabotaging, and limiting beliefs. 70% of what was downloaded. They also were created by thousands of rules. Think about this, right? What was the rules of your family where you're living? How many rules were there in your family life, in the home or the apartment you grew up in? How about your culture? How many rules for your culture, right? How many of us were raised watching movies such as The Godfather? What were we exposed to? Or what was the culture inculturation if you grew up as an Italian? What was The Godfather? What was it portraying? Right? It was portraying a certain mob mentality over in Italy, but how many of us young men growing up, right, in the culture or society was that if you're Italian, you've got to be tough guy, macho. Yeah, you got to smack women around, all this stuff. What was the culture like as far as what was a woman's place? A woman's place is where? At home. Just raise the kids. Shut up. Don't talk. You have no voice. This is how these beliefs were programmed into us. I can remember myself, my parents' relationship early on in my life, watching the interaction between my father and my mother. My dad used to stand by the foot of the stairs and just whisper, like just kind of half whistle up the stairs, and that was the way he was calling for my mom. This was his mentality of a woman is lesser than him. Well, this is how he was raised. This was the programmed beliefs. Women are lesser than him. But also, my mom was raised as well. How many people maybe do you know where your mothers are raised where you're subservient to the husband? You got to pay attention to look after your husband and just know your place in the family, right? Know your place. 95% of our daily activity, decisions, actions, behaviors, and emotions take place beyond our conscious awareness. Now, when I say this, we're not even aware, right, of this behavior. A lot of it is unconscious. So, our reactions then, okay, our reactions in life, your reaction in life stems from a stimulus that takes place, which the stimulus stems from the environment in which the stimulus took place in, which was created by the beliefs. So this is how our lives we start to live our life unconsciously. We're still operating off of those programmed beliefs. This is why we end up saying things such as, "I don't know why I keep doing the things I keep doing. I don't know why I react. Why do I keep react, which is doing over, repeating? Why do I keep reacting the way I react?" This is why when we're driving, people will flip somebody else off. They'll yell and scream at them because they are reacting, stemming from a stimulus, which would be how another driver is acting, which is stemming from an environment. Driving on a highway, there's your environment, but those reactions are being created by beliefs. And a lot of those beliefs are, I'm in fear. I have a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety when I'm driving. Other I hate the way those people drive. This is the thought process taking place in our mind. We got a lot of this from watching our parents, observing how our parents drove, observing how our parents interacted or reacted to other people. You can watch in a family where there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of rage, and you'll see where the child, father, maybe the child, the son, ends up, like I said, up that corner there. You're just like your dad. You act just like your dad, or the daughter act just like your mom. So reactions stem from a stimulus which was created in an environment in a belief. So therefore, the belief comes from the environment, which comes from the stimulus which causes the reaction. Now, in every stimulus, there are beliefs, and the beliefs are definitions. These are the three areas of our psyche, okay? Beliefs, which are definitions, emotions, which are feelings, and thoughts, which are actions. Everything starts here in our beliefs. So we just established that everything starts with our beliefs. All feelings are secondary to our beliefs. So if you want to really know and you're willing to ask yourself this very probing question, whenever anything happens and you find yourself in a situation or reacting, okay, ask yourself this, if you can do it, honestly, what would I have to believe is true about myself in relation to this situation in order to generate the feeling I am experiencing? So what is it that I have to believe, definition about myself that's generating this feeling, this reaction? What do I have to do to what would I have to believe is true about myself in order to generate this feeling that I'm having? Because life that we see around us, if you were to just stand on a beach and just look out at the ocean, you're looking at life. Life is taking place. If you were to stand in the middle of a forest and just look around, you'll hear life taking place with the squirrels and maybe the birds and what have you. But life is taking place. Waves crashing on the beach is life taking place. You hear seagulls or whatever. Life is taking place. No people. You're in the middle of a forest. You're the only person. There are no other people. Standing on the beach, it's deserted. There's nobody around. There's nobody but yourself. You are in that moment witnessing life. There's nothing to life. You and I, who are programmed beliefs, we create meaning in this life. So, whenever anything happens in a situation were to take place, if you have enough courage to ask yourself and get truthful with this answer, what would I have to believe is true about myself in relation to this situation, whatever it may be, in order to generate this feeling that I am experiencing? And I want to go back to here, okay? It's the ego. It's the left side of the brain. It's the prediction. It's controlling. I want to control, right? So the driver, I got to control the situation. I got to figure out what's coming next. I've got to figure out the unknown. This is living here on this side of our brain, the left hemisphere of our brain. All that energy, prediction, all of that, all stems from here, from the programmed state, observing behavior of our parents or caregivers. Okay? So, The meaning we put into a situation determines the effect we get out of it. The meaning you and I are putting in a situation determines the effects we're going to get out of that situation. Some of you have been, responding and to my previous videos and asking about things like this. It is your beliefs, but it's not your beliefs, it's your definitions. You're defining things in your life. Change the definition, you change the belief. And if you change the belief in the definition, then you change your emotions or your feelings. And by doing that, then you take different actions in your life. So, what would you have to, and I want to now pivot in this for right now, just want to pivot. What would I have to believe is true about myself in relation to this situation? I want to stop. You want to change the relationship you're in. Maybe you're not happy with the relationship. You want to change the job you have. Maybe you want to branch out and go on your own, start your own business. You want to get out from underneath, okay? Is how we define I don't have enough money to pay the bills. We're defining this situation, get out from underneath, right? So a get out from underneath belief or way of looking at it is a definition. Oftentimes comes from programmed beliefs of observing how our parents dealt with money. What was their definitions of money? What were the conversations that we were observing when we were an infant between mom and dad paying the bills, or some very loud conversations? I know in my case, very loud conversations. People call them arguments over who's paying money, who's doing their best, or who's bringing. You see it playing out today in the media, right? The rich are not paying their fair share. You keep telling people this. You keep and the media knows this, and the politicians in this world, not just country, but the world, know this. You keep repeating a phrase over and over and over and over again. It's like a Pavlov's dog. Pay their fair share. Rich or what? They don't pay their fair share. Now you say this and you tell this to a person who has defined their life as a struggle financially, and all you need is a stimulus, which would be, let's say that person comes from the projects or somewhere like that, and a man walks down the street, and the man is wearing a beautiful suit, and he has a lot of money. Or at least the perception is. The stimulus would be then what? That person, that man or woman, but a man wearing a beautiful suit, maybe a $2,000 suit, $5,000 suit. He is in a certain area. There's a certain definition. There's a stimulus, certain definition about that person. The rich don't pay their fair share. So the stimulus then would be that person walking in that neighborhood. The reaction of that person who's hearing this growing up. The rich don't pay their fair share. You see what I'm saying? This is how we create definitions. This is how we get what would I have to believe is true about myself in relation to this situation, in order to generate the feeling that I'm experiencing. It's never anything outside of us. It has never been. You and I, we are individuals, and we are spiritual individuals having this human experience. So it's never that. A boss at a job, the only thing a boss at a job does is reinforces our belief system about judgment. Judgment, where does it come from? Well, the first people who judged us were who? Our parents. So they were a boss. They were our first bosses. So having a boss just reaffirms the fact that I have this belief, this definition about judgment, that I'm not good enough, that I need somebody looking over my shoulder, that I have to have somebody pay attention, watch what I'm doing. So I'm kind of getting off the track here a little bit, but I wanted to sort of underscore this, the message I'm giving here today. So definitions, okay, everything starts here with our definitions, then controls our beliefs. Our beliefs then create our emotions, and then from emotions we get our feelings. All feelings are secondary to these here. So now we take this and we say, now but I want to, and I go back to what I said in the beginning, I want to do this in my life. I want to have financial freedom where I never have to, I have so much money coming in, all my bills, everything is paid, and I have more money at the end of the month than more monthly at the end of the money. Again, that's another phrase that was downloaded into our minds. I want to have a life where I wake up in the morning and I'm doing what it is that I want to do, that I have my own company or whatever it may be, or a relationship where I feel there's it's harmonious, that my spouse and I, or my relationship, my lover and I, we're working together, that we have this type of harmonious relationship. Because remember, the first relationships we ever observed were mom and dad. How did they interact with each other? So in quantum physics, what they've found is that the first principle in quantum physics is consciousness is creating our life experiences. What are we conscious of being? How are we conscious of this life? What is your life like? Your life is different than mine. The people in your life, the situations in your life, the circumstances in your life, your consciousness is creating all of that. That's why I went back to beliefs and definitions creates it all. Okay. Now, in our bodies, where the brainstem meets our spinal cord, is the Bible refers to as the long gate. Is the medulla oblongata. It's the connection between the brainstem and our spinal cord. The Bible also talks about 50 gates of understanding. So we have within our body, we have these from the top of my head, your head, even above that, through our body right here, down to the stem or the base of our spinal cord. All this here is referred to as our, and we have energy centers throughout there, starting at the root. The root is in spirituality referred to as I am. Above the root, and just about around our sexual organs, is our sacral, I feel. Around our belly button area, okay, the navel is our soul, and right this region around our rib cage is our solar plexus. Interestingly referred to that because it's spiritual. It refers to as the connection to the universe. And this I feel is a sacral. I do, solar plexus, the heart area here, I love, the throat, I talk, the third eye, I see, and then the crown, I understand. The Bible also talks about there's the only real temple in this world is not built by human hands. Temple, right here. This is the only temple that we have to concern ourselves with. Now, here's the thing. In these centers, these energy centers in our life, the Bible talks about the winding road, or the winding staircase. Okay, if I were to draw a line this way and another one, and they would crisscross like this, going up. Look at any type of in the medical profession, the symbol. The symbol is the spinal cord, okay, is a rod, and then the two snakes crisscrossing, and then meeting at the top, the crown. And then you'll see two wings coming off of this crown like this. Okay? The snakes, this is the winding staircase. This is us going through our life, the definitions, the beliefs, the feelings, the emotions, coming up through all here, meeting at, they finally meet at the crown. I understand. It's why you're watching this video. It's why I'm making the video, because this is the time. This video found you. We met. You and I are meeting right here at the crown with the wings coming off, because this is the part of the time for us and the part that we understand exactly why it is that we end up doing what we do, why we react to things instead of respond to things. Remember, when we react, it's coming from the left side, the left hemisphere, the ego. When we respond, we're coming from the right side, the right hemisphere, that temple, the crown, the I understand. We're understanding what's going on. We're going to see the driver next to us, and they react. We understand. We detach ourselves from that. We realize, okay, that was the old me reacting instead of responding. Understanding that they're operating at the left side of their brain. We start to realize things start to come to us easier. I want to show you a demonstration regarding this, because as we have this understanding, as we have these ideas, these thoughts in our head, they come from our higher consciousness. They oftentimes come down through our egocentric or the analytical brain. And then they end up, based on how we perceive that, this is why I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the ego mind, the analytical mind, the one that believing from what we were told in the beginning when we were young, growing up, talks us out. We end up talking ourselves out of a life that we would otherwise love to live, the relationships we would want to be in, the career, going for the bigger job, the promotion at work, starting your own company, being your own boss. All of this, healthier, having a healthier lifestyle, everything is what we eat. The foods we eat, because feel good food. That's what they refer to as feel good food. We understand this temple, we want to make certain we're putting in the right types of fuel inside this temple. But here's I want to show you this illustration. I thought of this today. I thought this is a perfect way, one of a very good ways of showing this. Now, this is an hourglass, and I just flipped it over. I want you to think of, this top part is your life, okay? These are your thoughts. This is the outcome in your life. These are the thoughts we're having every single day, the belief systems. But in here, in this sort of bottleneck area, what is coming from here is the higher mind, that conscious mind, the wishes and the desires. But they come through here, and in here, our analytical mind, our egoic mind says, no, that's not who I am. I'm not really that person. I'm the belief system, the definitions. And down here is the life that we end up living. Now, the question is, I'm going to flip it over again. The question is this life, as the sands start to build in this life, is this life representative of did you live your true life? Whose life? And if not, then I go back to when I asked when I first started this video. If this is not the life that you truly want to live, then whose life are you truly living? Whose life is it really? That's the question you want to ask yourself. As these sands go through the hourglass of your life, okay, as they get through the center, and as they get questioned, who in here, who is actually controlling this part? Is it you? Are you responding to your life? Or are you reacting to your life based off of belief system and definitions that were somebody else's that you've been carrying with you unconsciously all your life? So that's the question. you want to ask yourself. Now, if your answer, and it's only your answer, you have to answer this, is you're not, okay? You say, okay, George, well, how do I do this? We do this by becoming conscious in every single waking hour of our day. We become conscious of the thoughts, and we ask ourselves, we go back to that question of what is it that I have to believe that is true about myself that is having me generate these feelings in this situation? Because remember, in every situation, there's a stimulus and there's a response. But in between those two, the stimulus and the response, in between is the power, is your life, is the freedom, is the power there for you. How you answer that question, stimulus, response. Are you conscious or are you unconscious? Are you reacting or are you now responding? And I'll tell you that the more times you can respond in there, in this middle, between the stimulus and the reaction to it, the more times you can become consciously aware, and based off of that, how you're thinking and how you're feeling, everything will start to work out in your favor. You will attract the relationship that you've been looking for. You will attract the promotion that you've been looking for. You will attract the opportunity and the business to build. You will attract the money to your bank account so that you never ever have to worry about ever paying for another bill, worry about another bill ever again in your life. You put this into practice and it's guaranteed your life will work out for you just the way you planned it, because you're the one who are planning it every single moment of your life. Have a great day.